Hello, this is Warren Johnson, and welcome to another episode of Dallas Watch. We are out of the primary season. We can get away from investigating and other candidates, and now we can start focusing back in on Dallas. There's a lot of stuff been going on, and I kind of want to bring you back up to speed on some of these things. When you're getting this is going to be March the 6th, so the primaries are behind us by about 3 days. Now we've got an idea of how it's going to look in November, and in the fall we'll pick it up again, the elections, and we'll cover some of those things as well. But today we're going to talk about another brouhaha going on in Dallas at this time, and I'm sure it'll still be going on a little bit when this comes up on March the 6th. It's going to be going on for a long time. This regards Reverchon Park. Reverchon Park is a Dallas City park. It's a little over 100 years old. It's off of Maple Avenue, just south of Oak Lawn. It's a pretty little park. It used to not be that way. In fact, it was a place you would go back when I first got my driver's license in 1971 in Dallas. My mother had a list of places for me not to go. One of them was Reverchon Park. Found out it was a place for sexual hookups, if you know what I mean. So it was used for a little more than just playing baseball, if you get my drift. Anyway, let me give you a little bit of history about Reverchon Park. It's named after a guy, obviously named Reverchon. I can't think of his first name. His family came over, and I think he came over with them when he was a young child, or he may have been born over here, but he was part of that La Reunion socialist community that came over into the Dallas area in the mid-1850s. A lot of them stayed behind when that community failed after just a few years. The actual community was over there, if you can think of Interstate 30, the old Dallas Turnpike, between Hampton Road and Westmoreland. Right about there was the community. And a little further north of there, when you get into West Dallas, where the projects are, there's a cemetery called Fish Trap Cemetery, where a lot of these people are buried. There's a fish trap, or rather, reason it's called Fish Trap is because they would go, the French, the socialists would go down to the Trinity River, not where it is now, it was still a little further away, and they would trap fish on Fish Trap Road, was what they named it. So anyway, this Reverchon fellow, he ended up becoming a rather well-known botanist of some renown for the plants and stuff that he worked with, discovered, or whatever over here in North Texas. And of course, it was fitting when they named this park, when they created it well over 100 years ago, they named it after him. And that French community, a lot of those people that stayed here ended up they were part of the founders of Dallas for all intents and purposes. A good bunch of people. And so they named the park after him. Well, Dallas doesn't have the best history in the world over a long period of time of treating their parks well. In fact, the budget for Reverchon Park now is just $7,000. It looks a lot better than it used to. A lot of the buildings out there were built during the Depression by the Citizens Conservation Corps, CCC. Katy Trail goes by it, and like a lot of times when I go down Katy Trail in that area, when I go down that way toward Victory Park, I'll cut off and go down the hills and come back up through Turtle Creek Boulevard and go back home. There is a nonprofit organization that, like a Friends of Reverchon Park, who have taken care of it. I've spoken to some of their board members, but recently, about 2016, Donnie Nelson, who is the son of Don Nelson, the late Don Nelson, who was a coach, the head coach for the Dallas Mavericks, did quite well. He's an NBA legend in his own right. Donnie was a pretty good NBA player, I believe, and coach. But he put together a consortium, a group of people, called the RPSE, Reverchon Park, I don't know, SE, whatever that stands for. And they wanted to invest some money in the park, and they not want to buy it, but they wanted a long-term lease, like a 20-year lease with some options to go further than that. Well, they didn't get much blowback in the beginning, but this last fall, actually in December, so early part of the winter, when it came up for another vote, when they thought that this park was going to get some input of some funds to take care of it, then all of a sudden there was this big blow up. You would think citizens were out there with pitchforks and torches, but talking to one of these board members who was totally shocked by this. The city ended up on a vote early December voting 7-7. It was a tie vote, so they couldn't go forward with the project. And there was a lot of people that were disappointed in that. I was disappointed in that because I thought it would really help the area. I'm still trying to find out more about it, but I still think they should have gone forward with it. Well, just a week later, they had another vote on it, and this time they voted to go forward with the project. Now, they did, and we're going to put some links up there. They're going to show the actual legislation for it. It's pretty easy to read. I was kind of shocked by it, along with kind of a chart of how things, you had the initial proposal, there was another proposal in November of this year, 2019 rather, and then there was the final proposal that was voted on. Each time, Dallas got a little bit better deal, so I got to give credit to City Council for that, specifically David Blewett on that one. He voted against it at first, then he reintroduced it at the next City Council meeting, and it passed with these changes, and it sounded great. We thought everything was a go, but then a lawsuit was filed, and it's a little dubious as who filed that lawsuit and why they filed it. At least that's what I'm hearing. I'm not sure, I don't know for sure one way or another. I would like to talk to these people and find out, and I may do it, but since they've got an attorney, I doubt that's going to happen. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. But I texted before I came in here to present this to you. I wanted to see how things were stacking up with this. And so I texted David Blewett. And again, David is my city councilman. He was the guy, he and I both ran against the incumbent, Philip Kingston. And we think Philip has some kind of play in this agitation here on this park. But I finished third out of 3, but I did force a runoff. Of course, David wanted to have my voters vote for him, obviously, but he wanted that to be done secretly. I'll cover that in another episode as to why he wanted that. But anyway, here's the text exchange that he and I had. Let me read this to you. Okay, again, I was just getting ready to, go to press with this and put my notes down and see how this is going to go. So I texted him. I said, "Is the Reverchon Park deal council voted on in December solid, or can it be changed?" Because I wanted to make sure when I read this to you if this was what was going to happen or no. He texts back. Again, this is David Blewett, City Councilman, District 14. Says it's in design phase, so of course they can revise it. Okay. I said, will the changes be voted on by council, another entity, like the park board or whatever, or summarily approved by management, like the city manager? He texts back, it's complex. What do you want to know? Okay, so I guess he's getting suspicious. So I text back, I said, for an upcoming Dallas Watch episode, which you're seeing right here, seems odd that all were up in arms over it last fall. You, David, voted against it. The next week, you negotiated a better deal. Council is for it now. Neighbors break out in torches and pitchforks. Then a lawsuit is filed, and the whole thing may look completely different than what was presented to public, voted on, and passed. I didn't put a question mark, my statement. I didn't hear from him right away, so I put below that, I said, best part about it is it had Wolanski and Schutz snipping at each other. That's Robert Wolanski, the Dallas Morning News, Jim Schutz of the Dallas Observer. Usually these two social justice warriors are on the same page about everything, mainly sucking up to city council and giving them good press. But they were snipping each other over this, mainly because I think Robert Wolanski's son is an avid baseball player, a good baseball player. And Schutz, I don't know what his beef is. I think he's in Kingston's camp, pretty solid, Kingston and Griggs. And again, I think those two guys are rearing their ugly heads. Handsome guys they are, but ugly in the whatever sense you want to take it. All right, so I don't hear from him for like 24 hours, or at least a long time. So I text back, I said, this isn't a park across town for me. This is in my neighborhood. I use that park, but it also shows a pattern of council ignoring state law and just doing whatever it wants to do. Rather than the required 30 days, council only gave notice on removal of Lee's statue of 6 days. Same with the memorial in Pioneer Park, and now this lawsuit regarding Reverchon. there's a connection here between the Lee statue when it was removed or voted on to be removed, the memorial at Pioneer Cemetery in downtown Dallas, its removal was voted on last year, and now this at Reverchon Park. The city is required by the state to give 30 days notice so people can respond to whatever. Each one of these times, these three, each time the city only gave 6 days. There's a pattern here. The pattern is the city doesn't care. They get together, they don't care what we think, they willingly do whatever they want to do. So that's what's been going on. So this is going to play out. I may see if I can put up a copy of the text that I just read to you. See, my staff here can work that magic. We'll put that up there for you so you can see the text verbiage on there. And this is going to be playing out over the months, and we'll probably cover this when we get updates. So anyway, that's it for today. Enjoy your day. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. I really appreciate you tuning in to watch the show. Please hit the like and share button and share it with your friends and family. If you'd like to give us some feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Just email us at dallaswatch2020@gmail.com. Also, please consider a tax-deductible donation. You can go to www.returnlee.org. And also, don't forget, tune in every Friday, 7:30 Dallas time. New episode comes out of Dallas Watch. See you then. So long.